Okay. Hi, everyone. You almost made it to the end of all the presentations. Congratulations to everyone. You just have to listen to me for a few more minutes and then a Q&A session. Hopefully this will be mildly entertaining to end your day. And I'll just jump right into it. I am Jeff Steward from Harvard Art Museums. And to frame my presentation, let's imagine you have all of the technical stuff described this morning and this afternoon up and running, and let's push away all of the scholarly uses. While they're important, I don't find them all that compelling personally. Hence the reason fun and games up here on the screen. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can have some fun with IIIF. But before I do that, just a little bit about the Harvard Art Museums. We're a teaching museum at a research university. You might have gathered that. We have around 250,000 objects, and here's a little bit of a sample. We have paintings. We have coins, about 20,000 ancient and Byzantine coins. We have drawings. We have sculpture. I mean, you get the idea. We're an art museum. We have a variety of art-like stuff. And it's all online and IIIF compatible and all that great stuff. But the fun fact about the images I just showed you is that they were all made on the fly using the IIIF image API with a little bit of programming skill, just requesting random things from collections and requesting random slices to create these mosaics. Nothing complicated, nothing fancy. You have the API, you can start to do fun things with it, not just image comparison, which is, again, great, just not my thing. Okay. So just to prove it to you from the previous image, you might see that slice up on the left there, and there it is. It's a Henry Moore sculpture, and just to prove it to you, there's the IIIF image API URL just for that slice. And of course, if you know where the parameters are tucked away in there, you can get a slice to the left or a slice to the right, whatever you want to do. Okay, but let's move on to something a little more fun. Since we have a relatively large art collection at the museum, there are a lot of sub-collections that are ripe for exploration. I am going to talk a little bit about what I've been experimenting with, doing with this American Professional Photographers Collection, or APPC, as we call it. It's a collection of around 20,000 photographs from professional photography studios around the United States. The photographs date from the 1870 to about 1990, so it's a really great slice of America. There are a lot of stage photographs in the studio and a lot of candid photographs of events. And if you want to browse the whole collection, go to harvardartmuseums.org and type in American Professional Photographers Collection and browse away. So a lot of great material to work with. Here are just a few family portraits that you'll find there, which again, the stuff is endlessly entertaining. But take APPC and marry it with machine processing and you get some awesome fun. Plain and simple. There's about 20,000 items in our public data set that have been run through 4 services. So listed up here, Google Vision, Microsoft Cognitive Services, Clarify, and Imaga. The services are all pretty simple. First, you sign up for it, and then with a little bit of code, you feed an image into a service, and you ask it to do some specific work on the image, and it will give you back some structured data. Most of them basically will give you, out of the box, they'll try to categorize your images and tag your images. And if you're interested in what that looks like, from Google Vision, you get stuff like this. Which might only make sense to the nerdiest of us in the group today. But in this case, I said, hey, Google Vision, use your label detection service and describe the image for me. And that's what it tells me it found. And here I said, hey, Google Vision, use your face detection service. Can you find any faces in this image? And if it does, I get data that looks like this. And Microsoft Cognitive Services, again, run your color analyzer, tell me about the colors in this image. And Microsoft Cognitive Services, tag and write a caption for me. Which is also really mildly entertaining because you can see for this particular image, it wrote me a whole caption, and some of them are great and some of them are really, really bad. But once you have this data, you can start to twist and turn it in all sorts of fun ways. And you might be thinking, how does this all relate to IIIF? I promise, I'm getting there. So again, if I ask Google Vision if there are any faces in this image, we get our results, and if we do a little bit of programming, we can render them in something that's much more palatable for humans than that raw code you saw before. And one way to render them is as boxes around faces, telling you where those faces are. And you've seen, annotation examples that look like this earlier today. Google also gives you some sentiment analysis. Are the people happy? Are they wearing a hat? Are they angry? It's endlessly entertaining. But you could take all that same data and do basic things like just block out all the faces, because I just want to get a sense of the structure and organization of this group of people. I don't care what they look like in their face. But that's fun. Let's move back to the original photo. And there it is. And but really, because we have all this info about location and size of the faces, we can drop out the whole background itself and just render the faces. Again, trying to get a sense of, like, how does a photographer position people when they're posing a group, like a family, for a portrait. And you can imagine doing the same thing over time with a series of photographs by the same photographer to just get a sense of how they've worked over their career. Okay, so we can do this using a single image, thanks to the IIIF Image API. All the faces that you see are extracted from the full image non-destructively. So these are not individual images I snipped out in Photoshop. I'm not creating copies of the full image or cutting out the faces. I'm using Harvard's IIIF compatible services to fetch regions of interest, and they are magically derived from the single full original image. And again, to prove it to you, there are all the individual URLs for each of those faces, and if you look really closely or talk to me later, you can see the base image URL is all the same with just different regions described in there. I'll be in the demo sessions if you want to see this more. So, okay, grazie, IIIF. Yes, awesome. And you might imagine if you can do this with faces, you can do the same thing with text. Again, you see text annotation over and over as we're talking here today. And so there's Google doing text analysis and finding all the text. I can highlight them. I can black them out. I can drop out the background. I could prove to you again, there are all the image URLs for the text that I found in this image. And Randy, if you're in the audience, sorry about abusing the IIIF image delivery service for all of these image calls, but here we are. I'm doing it anyway. Yes. So finally, some fun. Let's put all this technical business behind us and use the newfound powers to make a few simple games. First up, face scramble. Nothing fancy. Load up 2 portraits and automatically scramble the faces. Let's see it one more time. Endlessly entertaining. There's a link to this, and you can go play with it yourself afterwards and be amused. Next up, face match. Perhaps you'd like to try your hand at swapping faces or matching faces on bodies. You can do it, and it's just one master image, a bunch of region information for the faces, and I get all the images, and I let you play around with them. It's nothing earth-shattering, but once you have all the data in hand and these services, nothing stops you from doing something like this. Perhaps moving on to some of my personal favorite ones, riffing on the theme of magnetic poetry. If you've all had a refrigerator and if you've all had magnetic poetry, here you go. Now you have a digital version. Again, if you can do all the matching and weird destructive things with faces, you can do them with text. And if we are a little bit patient and I have time, we can watch some messages unfold, which if you can't read them, I will tell you what they are. Yeah, patience, it's fiddly. Again, there's a live version of this out on the web you can play with on your own. And first message is some reads in vodka. Quite simple, straightforward, makes sense. The second message is 10 good cattle attend Florida election and vote. And last but not least, we have welcome cats. Wait, let's make that welcome battle cats. And make it a little more directed. Let's say welcome new battle cats. Which is, this is all fun and games. as stated. But really cool, you double click on any of them and it'll show you the word in context. And on the live version as well, it'll show you metadata. So not only can you play around with these words and shuffle them around, all the information is there to get you from the bits and pieces to the full thing, back to the bits and pieces, and on and on and on. And Satan's submarines, always one of my favorite ones. Satan's submarines paired with vodka bring up two compelling comparisons. Okay, and last but not least, this little demo called Magic Message, which is kind of a reverse thing. You just type in whatever you want, and it is searching basically our annotations that are derived from machine processing to pull up just the images of the words that you're trying to write in your message. The first message said machine processing is fun and strange. The second message is writing out the girl makes good whiskey and eggs. And last but not least, we have, if all goes well, yes, watch out for submarines at the beach in Florida. And with all these, you double click on them and you get the full image in context. Okay, so just to wrap things up, if you couldn't have guessed this, IIIF is my favorite pair of digital scissors I've ever gotten to use. It's quick, it's easy. Once the services are running, you can let your mind roam free and do all kinds of compelling and possibly useless things with them. So hopefully coupling IIIF with other services, APIs and collections means that your possibilities are endless. And if you take away anything from this presentation, you should remember that every image you saw was from one master image. I didn't do any slicing and dicing in Photoshop. I didn't download anything. I'm just adjusting the image API URLs to give me the pieces that I need. And last but not least, I hope this inspires you to adopt, use, and share your resources via IIIF as well. And thank you to all my colleagues at Harvard University. This wouldn't be possible without them and all the infrastructure they've put in place. And thanks to the IIIF community for your work thus far and the work that is still to come. Thank you very much, and go play. Thanks.